And then, halfway through my third game of this, I was like, oh, it's about building tree houses.
Yeah. Azul, Reef, Tukey, Maui, Wowie.
Tree. Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a little game called Tree Society from Next Move Games, which is throwing me off because most of their games have 4 letters.
4 letters, okay?
No, I'm sorry, four alphanumerical, because 5211
Sure.
was 4 numbers.
Azul, Reef, Tukey, Maui, Wowie.
Tree Society.
Oh no, it doesn't work anymore. Did something change at the company? Are they now putting different games out? Let's find out.
Well, I do know that before we started, that you were interested in this because of the designers.
Absolutely. Matthew Dunstan, Brett J. Gilbert, they do work together quite a bit, and they do good games. I tend to enjoy their games, especially sometimes they work separately, and I found I'm a fan of Matthew Dunstan, especially. But yes.
Well, show us how it plays.
All right.
So here we're taking a look at the central market in the game with some fruit cards up at the top, and then these cards here, 3 at the top that have an extra cost associated with them, and 3 at the bottom. Every player is going to have an area that looks something like this. I'm just showing you one player's area here. They're going to have this little box with that crate symbol, but it goes right there, basically. And depending on where you are at the beginning of the game, first, second, third player, you begin with some different amount of these coins, all right? So I begin with those. You begin with a starting card down here, some fruits as well. The other player areas I'm not setting up. I did set some fruits there to represent a second and a third player, all right? I'm going to need that in a second for my explanation, but just assume that they are fully set up the same way that this looks for me. You have 3 of these little trees to track where your cards have been built. So the levels, first one, you start right here. And then a second level and a third level with some victory points and some costs and some abilities in the middle. And we are off. Every round is going to have 3 parts, okay? You're going to do a selling phase in which you sell a fruit. And so you have selling phase. The second one is going to be a building phase in which you pay to level these things up or grab new ones from here and set them and pay for them. And then lastly, a resting phase in which you are going to clean up your coins, get new fruit cards, that sort of thing, and replenish things. So here we go. From the top, the very first one, and I'll just say it's my turn, I'm going to have a selling phase. So what I do on my turn is I'm going to be selling one of these fruit cards. The one I want to sell, I'm going to slide up so that I visually have a reminder of that. I'm going to get some amount of money, and then I'm going to possibly, if I want to, I can trigger this ability right here, okay? So the way this works is, let's say I want to sell this one. I'm going to count how much money I'm going to get from that by counting all of the cards that are both in other players' areas and in the market display up here. So if I was selling this apple, there are in play right now, and I count myself to 1, 2, none there, 3, 4 across the table. So I would get 4 of these lovely chunky coins, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. I put them here in this area, and then I would do this ability again if I want to. The abilities, there's only 4 different kinds. I can sell another thing, but it has to be a different kind of fruit, and I cannot use the special ability on that one. So if I was triggering this, I could also say, okay, I'm going to sell this one. And I'm going to get, for oranges, 1, 2, 3 coins, okay? There's also the fact that some fruits have this symbol up here, and that means you get plus 1 coin if you sell that. So if I was actually selling this, I would get 1, 2 for that one, 3 for this one, and an extra coin for that symbol being there, all right? So that's what that means there. If I sold this one, I get to take a fruit from over here and put it in my display. And you can see that I begin with 3, but I could have more, and it can keep going. This one lets me throw away one of these 2 lines, and it'll be replenished, okay? And so those are the symbols, and there is one more symbol scene right here that gives you a discount. That gives you a discount on leveling up these cards right here. So I do that. Going back to it, I do this. I'm going to get my coins, and then I get to sell one more thing. I will do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I also will sell that one because it's different. Boom. There we go. I'm done with step 1, selling. Step 2, building. I can pay for any of these levels. This one costs 3 to go from this first step to the next one, and I would just pay for that and move my little tree up. There's an ability. They're normally something that happens when you level up, or they might be an ongoing ability. There's also all of these abilities, and if I want to buy, say, this, I could pay 4 and take it from here, put it right here, and put a tree on it. Boop, and pay my 4, okay? So that would work. I could do that. I could build one of these up here, and this one, for example, if I want that, it costs 2 plus 1 because it's at the top, and these costs will, this will move down, and the cost will, that penalty will go away. So if I want something early, I need to pay a little more for that. So let's say I did that. I'm going to, let's say I'm going to do this one. I'm going to pay 3 and build this level, and it says build the first, second, or third level of another location for half, rounded down. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to build this one. Well, I would have done it on here, but let's say I do it on this one. I'm going to do that. That half, rounded down, okay. Then I only pay 2 for that. And I'm going to put this here, and I have now space for my 3. As I complete these, and you'll notice this one doesn't even have any abilities, it just has a bunch of points. And when I complete it, I'm going to flip the card over. It's going to move over here, and it's going to show me some of these symbols on the back, and then a number of victory points. If it had any ongoing ability at the 3rd level, it would also show me that here. The game is going to be over when 6 of these symbols, these hexes, are in someone's area. We would finish out that round and we play one more full round, and at that point you just add up some victory points. So this area over here with the check mark, there's a check mark right there, just means completed cards. So for now, it looks something like that, okay? And that is going to be it for this second build phase, and now we go into the rest phase. During the rest phase, I am going to grab any fruits I sold, so say this one and this one. I'm going to put them over here in my sold area. These won't matter unless something references them. Some of these cards will care about what I sold. So I'm going to put them over there. I'm going to replenish this. These, like I said, they move down. We bring out new ones. We put them out for the players, and then I need to grab a new fruit from over here. So I might take, I don't know, perhaps this one. It'll be a nice discount when I sell it. We replenish that, like so. And now I need to settle up with my coins here. So if I have more than 2 coins, let's say I ended my turn and I still had 3 of these, I can only keep 2, okay? And then anything that's in this area comes out and becomes available cash for the next round. The reason for that is some of these cards will give you money that goes into this bin, and you don't have it for this round. You will have it for the next round. So it's a way to basically give you some money that you can't use immediately. You have to wait until the next turn, okay? So there we go. Having done that, I normally, in this case, I had no money at all, and I had a single one in here, so all I get is that. And I'll make some money next turn when I sell some fruit. Having done all of that, then it'll be the next player's turn, and they'll go through the same phase. They'll sell a fruit, they'll get some money, they may use the ability on the card, then they may purchase these, level them up, level up the ones in front of them, the ongoing cards, and then lastly, they will replenish everything and kind of get ready for the next one. Like I said, as you are finishing these, they'll end up over here, and these symbols are the end game trigger. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game, of course, is the winner.
Until you mentioned it when in the middle of the game. So it's called Tree Society.
It is indeed.
The artwork is pretty good.
It is.
And then, halfway through my 3rd game of this, I was like, oh, it's about building tree houses.
Yeah, and some sort of... It's also like a... Is this technically like cozy post-apocalyptic? I'm not sure.
It doesn't say. It just says, near the canopy. You want to be the most prominent contributor to Tree Society.
Because it's clearly like not our world. No, this is not a real place.
Maybe it's a bunch of people who've gone to. Yeah, these aren't real trees.
Right. So, but that lady's dressed like it's the
1800s.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, the theme here is paper thin, I would say.
Sure.
You are completing recipes, paying for these things. Eventually, when you finish the tree house, you flip that card over and move it along. But it could have been anything. This could have been paper, researching topics to write papers. It could have been anything.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's called Tree Society, but the number one thing you ask people, if I would say, hey, do you want to play the fruit game, is what I would say to somebody. Mm-hmm. If they're like, what's Tree Society? I'm like, the fruit game. Not the tree game. The fruit game is what you remember. So the fruit mechanism is, I don't know how I feel about it still. It sounds super interesting. You sell a fruit, you're getting a coin for that fruit and every other type that's amongst everyone else. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting idea. But A, you have almost no control over that.
Yes.
Even if you're like, well, I'll just get a whole bunch of the same fruit, you may not have that option based on the fruits that you can take afterwards.
It's also not ideal, I think, because if you have a fruit that lets you sell another fruit, which can be a nice boon, it has to be a different fruit. So you can't even corner the market that way and sort of manipulate it. You can't even, I mean, it feels like a stock market, but you can't short anything. Because when you replenish the card from the center and put it in your own table, new card is random. You didn't affect that.
Yeah, right. You can't. At first, I was like, oh, I'll take this blueberry because I see he's getting blueberries. Oh, wait, he still gets it if it's in front of me.
Doesn't matter.
So
I agree with you that system sounds and feels more clever than it is. And it can also be a little bit of a pain playing with 4 people and having to count every time.
I was just saying, that adds to the clunkiness of this game.
Yeah, it does.
Because every time you kind of wait, as soon as the next person draws the card, you're like, okay, here we go. I have 3 to 4 fruits, maybe more than that, but you're like, okay, this one is worth 3. This one's worth 4. And then you do that, and then you usually sell the one that's worth the most, but you might not because of the special abilities. And that part's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I also like the fact that some of the tree houses or whatever will care about which fruit you sold. I enjoy that combination.
Yes. And the different families of trees are interesting. They're going to come out, and you are moving up the tracks on them, and that's kind of the base of the game. But because so much is on that first part of the fruit,
right?
It suffers from that. It also suffers, for me at least, of a lot of downtime. Especially in a 2-player game, not a problem. You do your turn, I do my turn.
Yeah.
But with 4, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, you're going. I don't even really care what anyone else is doing.
There's nothing to do.
I can't even count my fruits.
No, you can't. There's literally nothing you can do. You can, look at the 3 cards in front of you and plan on which ones you want to build first, but you can't count on what's out there. It might change. The fruits will change. You can't really do anything. I do enjoy the leveling up those cards. The abilities can be interesting. You can get some neat combinations. Sometimes, yes, they're blank and it's just points. Great. But sometimes it's like, while this is on this level, and you can leave it here for a while, every time you sell an apple, get a whatever. That's neat. I like that. That's a little something to think about. But those moments seem to be few and far between. There's just not that many clever combos. And the game, from the outside looking in, appears to look like a combo-rific game. But it's not really. There's just not enough of it.
It also suffers from being both too long and too short. By what I mean is, it's kind of boring between your turns, but it's like, and you're like, man, this game's taking a while, and then it ends. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, I wanted to move up some stuff here and get some points, but I guess the game is over at this point. There's no real telling when it ends. Yes, when they get 6, but someone might finish 2 on one turn.
Yes.
They might buy a real cheap one out there or 2 cheap ones out there and quickly end the game. I mean, you have some indication when it's going to end. It just felt like it was a slow roll until it was done. Mm-hmm. All this combined, man, I like the art. The fruit market I like so much in theory. When I first read the rules, I was like, this sounds fun. I saw a grape, and ooh, this one's 5.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for me in theory. I love the tree part I like a lot.
I do too.
Getting
That's
the trees
the thing.
and moving things up.
this is the game I like with fewer players. I kind of like it, right? And it's a game that's sort of like, this sounds bad, but it's brain dead enough where I could play this and like watch TV. It has that
or have
feeling,
a conversation.
Or have a conversation
Yeah.
or something. Has that feeling of like, this is basic enough where I could do that. I don't want to do it with 4 players. I agree with you. And it needs to like kind of bounce back and forth. And I'm also not super invested. There's no high highs and low lows in this game. I'm just sort of like playing and then it's over at some point. And I add up my things and I'm like, hey, look at that. You won.
Yeah, so my rating is a 6, 2 or 3 players. 4, I'd give it a 5.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all with 4. I think it's too long. 2 or 3 players, I'll give it a 6. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to remember this game in a year. But what about you?
I'm still between a 6 and a 6.5. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because I could always adjust it to make sure I always play with 2. So 6.5. It's still not there. It's still not there. This is missing something. I don't know what that spark is. A more fun theme. Maybe that would have helped. A little something else to think about on my turn while it's not, while I'm not going. A secret scoring. Something. It's missing something. I can't put my finger on what it is, but it's not in here. And yes, I agree. I think this is a game that's going to be forgotten. I could see it becoming somebody's comfort food game. But you got a lot of options for that in this day and age. So it's just not there, unfortunately. This is a little bit of a dud from these designers, and I certainly had high hopes. They weren't met.
There you go. Tree Society. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
Have fun when the apocalypse forces us all to live and sell fruit to build.
Yeah, it's a fruit.
It's coming.
Fruit is.
Repent. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.